Well, hello everyone. How are you this evening? Hey Charles, hey Boo Boo, how are you this evening? So great to see everybody here. Delighted that you're joining me again for Smart Start. You know what I thought today? I was thinking, what do I want to talk about today? And then I thought, maybe a color. What color do I want to talk about? And I thought I really love the color blue in art, and we talk about it quite a bit, but I never really do a kind of overview of it. So I thought for today, let's look at ultramarine, and let's really look at kind of a little bit, some of the history of it, not all, obviously. We only have a certain amount of time, yeah? So let's take a look at ultramarine and see the role that it's played. Um, in art history. So let's begin. Lapis lazuli. It's a specimen from Afghanistan, yeah? Let's take a look. Ultramarine is a deep blue color pigment which was originally made by grinding lapis lazuli into a powder. The name comes from the Latin marinus, literally beyond the sea. That's beautiful because the pigment was imported into Europe from the mines in Afghanistan by Italian traders during the 14th and 15th century. Makes sense to me. That's the time of exploration, right? Yeah. All right. The pigment, okay, I'm sorry, before I get to that, ultramarine was the finest and most expensive blue used by Renaissance painters. It was often used for the robes of the Virgin Mary and symbolized holiness and humility. It remained an extremely expensive pigment until a synthetic marine ultramarine was invented in 1826. So that's quite a difference of time there that they've used that. Hi Arlene, how are you? It looks like it has tints of gold. That's exactly right, Boo Boo. Boy, you have a good eye. So it's interesting because one of the reasons why Renaissance painters made more money if they used the ultramarine was because it was a much more expensive pigment to buy. The pigment, I'm not going to get into the science of the pigment. I can't even read the words. Let's look at some images from this period of time and look at it. Let's look at the blues in that. Yeah, this is Perugino. We have a Perugino at the museum. Not at the museum, I'm sorry. At the cathedral. It's in the Italian chapel. It's so beautiful. I just love being there in that chapel and seeing that piece. It's really, really stunning. So let's take a look at the look of that. I'm just looking at one thing that I'm confused about. This is Masaccio. So you see in here, let me go, and I want to hear what everybody has to say about it. So the synthetic ultramarine, being very cheap, is largely used for wall painting, the printing of paper hangings, and calico, and also as a corrective for a yellowish tinge often present in things that meant to be white, such as linen, paper, or bluing, or laundry blue is a suspension of synthetic ultramarine. That is used for the purpose when washing white clothes, right? Like a bleach. It's often found in makeup such as mascaras or eyeshadows. Large quantities are used in the manufacture of paper and especially for producing the kind of blue writing paper that was popular in Britain. Remember the blue writing paper? Okay. But this is not the synthetic, right? This is ultramarine. This is that natural ultramarine that comes from the lapis lazuli. The name derives from Middle Latin, which means literally beyond the sea, because it was imported from Asia by the sea. In the past, it was also known as Azurum ultramarine, Azurum transmarium, and there's other names for it. Current terminology for ultramarine includes natural ultramarine, and it gets all this stuff. So I want to look at some of the paintings. During the Renaissance, ultramarine was the finest and most expensive blue that could be used by painters. Ultramarine blue is a glorious, lovely, and absolutely perfect pigment beyond all the pigments. It would not be possible to say anything about or do anything to it which would not make it so. One of the lesser known Renaissance painters had said. So let's look at these. I really love this Perugino piece, so I want to hear what you have to say about it. It's just these differences of blues in here. There's my mother. Hello. Everyone say hello to my mother. Hi, Mom. How are you? Good to see you here. Yeah, the sky kind of goes on forever here, Charles. I absolutely agree with you on that. So good to see you, Mom. Glad you made it on. Does that mean that my husband's on here and he's not telling me he's here? Probably. So we have the sky that goes on forever. We have this deep blue in the Madonna's clothing, which that they described it so well in talking about it as both being the blue of what is humble and also, he didn't say holy, but he said humble and, let me get the word correctly because I thought it was a really nice way of saying it. Of course, I forgot it. Yeah, humility and holiness. It's interesting. Humility and holiness. So you have the Madonna here, and you may have Saint Anne with her, yeah? And then also, even in the angels on top, you have this slight blue, right? Just different levels of it. Look at this piece, this Masaccio. Amazing work, Masaccio. Amazing work. Even this early Renaissance piece, you see the heaviness of Masaccio, right? You see those heavy figures. You see the gold being used. I mean, we're really at the tail end of Byzantine here, going into Gothic. And the way I know that is that arch is slightly pointed, but then you do have some background. But look at this incredible blue of the Madonna, that deep blue. Yeah, just beautiful. And then look here. We're skipping ahead to Vermeer, whose use of blue is incredibly sublime. And you know, I was listening to Carrie James Marshall, speak today about Ange's work. And he talks so much about the blue in it. And I think that that's why I got hooked on blue and just this notion of these figures in that space. Yeah. Mom, that's Boo Boo. How is Boo Boo? Yeah. Then let's look at this one. This goes back to the Renaissance. Titian. Look at that Titian sky. And the Titian sky, but also the robes, the blue robes in that Titian sky. Titian made dramatic use of ultramarine in the sky and draperies. Yeah, the draperies of it's just phenomenal. I mean, these are just luscious paintings. I love the spotted leopards. Just beautiful. I swear to you, some designers must work from this, interior designers, because you always see these gorgeous blues and then put together with fabrics, right, Arlene, in the living room with a leopard print somewhere. And I'm like, why is that leopard print there? I just realized it now looking at a Titian painting. Sassoferrato. Look at this blue. Stunning. Stunning. Her blue cloak is painted in ultramarine. But look at the white. Look at the white veil and just the beautiful folds in that veil and then the shadows that it casts. Just gorgeous. I want to hear what you guys have to say. It's Boo Boo. Yeah. So funny. All right. And then, of course, back to Vermeer. Such a popular painting, right? The movie, the book, whatever. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We call her Boo Boo. She's our Boo Boo. Yeah. Boo Boo's meeting me. My students for the first time are meeting me in the park tomorrow with Dion. We're going to do such great work. And then on Thursday, we're meeting in the park with Song Shin. She's going to do her paper cutting. Yay. So, Charles says, does the dark wings mean something? Oh, I have to go back to that piece. Not sure. But I love the blue of her headdress here. I just think it's so pretty. I often wonder about this piece because it's become such a part of our pop culture now. I mean, when you think about this piece without the blue color in the top of her scarf, how it changes it so much. Yeah. And then here's a really early piece, the Wilton diptych, but I just have one panel of it. Look at the ultramarine in the 14th century England. I mean, really, this color becomes so ubiquitous in Europe, in art, and it, this ultramarine, this beyond the sea, that when it reaches Europe and England, it just takes over. It just takes over for quite some time, So this is like 1395, and then going right into this piece, 1654. And then in the 1800s, it becomes a synthetic. And the color does change. I think this blue is really incredible. Really, really incredible. There's a lot of navy blue and royal blue. That's very good, Boo Boo. You're absolutely right. There's both. Yeah, it's pretty sublime, isn't it, Arlene? Just these colors and just the folds in her clothing and this black background. It's really just a very poignant, powerful, beautiful piece. The colors take you in so much, and it's interesting because when I think about this piece and then I think about Rothko's work, let me see if I could pull up a Rothko because I want you to see something because I think I can see it now better. Let me see if I could see if he did it. Yeah, I just want to show you this. Just indulge me for 1 second. Yeah, let me get an image. Now, Rothko, famously felt so strongly about color. And he has the Rothko Chapel, as you all know. And he felt so strongly about being able to go into his chapel and in a way that one prays in a religious chapel, he felt that one could fall into the color. It could be that his art, could be a religious experience, right? Now let's look at this. Here, I'm curating on the spot. Yeah, let me see if I could put these two together. Because just looking at this, I understand it now I can almost, with Sassoferrato's work, just almost see beyond the figure and go into the color. Yeah. And then next to that is a Rothko painting. Yeah. I just love this aquamarine, just really drawn towards that and his work, both of their works. So, yes, we will keep safe tomorrow. The kids will have masks and we'll have all kinds of things, fun stuff too, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, I could see now where Rothko, I always have this feeling about art. When I'm in a museum, it feels like I'm in a religious experience, right? So for me, but then if you see it like this, I wonder how that feels for people. Yeah. So, my friends, that's my very quick look at aquamarine. I want to bring you more of a detailed look at it tomorrow, but I want to look at it through another artist. I want to look at it in looking at Ange, the artist Ange, right? And this interview that I saw with Kerry James Marshall. Yeah, it's a good pairing, right, Arlene? Thank you. Did that quickly. with James Carey Marshall and go from there. So I hope you all have a really nice evening. I'm going to go have some dinner, and I have to prepare for my big class in the park tomorrow, which I'm so excited about. And so we're going to be, Dion is teaching modern dance. We are going to be looking at the history of Central Park. And we're also going to be working on short stories. Yeah, there's actually right now, there's I'm thinking of the name of it, the Seneca Village in Central Park, very close to where I live, right on 86th Street, and it's an open air, well, they finally have, the museum that I work with, New York Historical Society, has done a lot of scholarship on this, that Seneca Village was one of the first places in New York City in which African Americans had a real home. And the home was demolished, the neighborhood, I should say, a real neighborhood, was demolished to make way for Central Park. And that's been the story of a lot of people's lives. It's certainly a lot of communities in New York City. So right now, in the history of New York, they have it as, they have all of these markers of who lived there and the type of housing and stores. And so I'm going to bring the students to that. We're going to start working on our short stories. We're going to learn about Seneca Village. And then Dion is going to teach modern dance. And I'm really excited. He's going to work on a little bit of ballet and move into modern. And we're going to have a great day with our Looking is Learning. So I will fill you all in on it tomorrow night when I see you here later. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you all tomorrow. And I hope you all have a great night. I love these two paired together, right? The Roscoe. Amazing. Have a great night, everybody.